When I decided to attend my 25th high school reunion, I shopped for the perfect outfit. Of course, I wanted to look drop-dead gorgeous. Strawberry was a trendy clothing store catering to young women and teens. The quality of the clothing wasn't necessarily the best, but the prices were right on a secretary's salary. My signature color has always been pink, but I was open to other colors. I didn't know exactly what color or style I was looking for until I spotted the long, shimmery, button-down blouse with sleeves just above the elbows with matching pants. Underneath the blouse was a pale pink shell. I was interested. The blouse was a myriad of dainty pastel colors: pink, yellow, light blue, and the material was of a light, airy texture, probably a cotton blend. At first, I thought the sketching on the blouse was random, but a closer look blew my mind. The sketches, like ink drawings, were of Alice in Wonderland. Oh, it's a sign from God, I told myself. My first acting job in New York City was portraying Alice in a children's theater production of Alice in Wonderland. The pants, made from the same light, airy material, were a solid color of light pink and tapered at the ankles. I'd lost at least 30 pounds since my chubby high school days and now weighed a svelte 103. Observing my reflection in the dressing room mirror, I decided this would be the perfect outfit to wear to greet my high school classmates and knock 'em dead. We were seated at a long table for dinner. During the meal, someone asked, "Who traveled the longest distance to attend the reunion?" I really didn't know how far New York City was from the small town I'm from in North Carolina, and rather than make a stupid guess, I kept my mouth shut. Quite a few of my classmates knew I came from New York City, and since most hadn't traveled more than a few miles, someone yelled out, "Nikki did!" I could feel my face getting hot. Then one of the reunion organizers, a guy who I remembered as a smartass, asked, "How far did you travel?" A long way," I answered. Everyone laughed, and I thought that would be the end of it. "But how far?" the jackass persisted. "I'm not sure," I said. My classmates were now whispering and giggling. Obviously, they knew the answer. Finally, I said, "Over 500 miles at least." There was more laughter, and now my face was on fire. Then Jackass said, "I think you traveled over 600 miles. Yes, that sounds about right," I said with a laugh. I had been a bit of a class clown, so I hoped everyone thought I was just trying to be funny, but I felt humiliated. Still, I enjoyed chatting with my classmates. For those familiar with Margaret Mitchell's epic novel about the American South, Gone with the Wind, if I had been Scarlett O'Hara, the man who walked over to say hello was my Ashley Wilkes. His sickly, mealy-mouthed wife, Melanie, a girl we'd both gone to school with, whose name I don't recall, stood by his side. His real name was Rayford Butts. I fell hard for him in the 9th grade and dreamed of him becoming my boyfriend. Ashley Rayford was good-looking, smart, and played on both the basketball and football team. He always walked with his nose in the air, which made him even more desirable. That year, he was in my English class. We never had any interaction, but I know he knew who I was, for, like I said, I was a bit of a class clown. Near the end of the school year, my best friend, Vanda Sue, asked if I would like to double date with her. She had 4 tickets to a dance recital. I said, yes. I'd never been on a date before. Who would you like to go with? She asked. I giggled. Who? She demanded. You know, I said. Vanda Sue was the only person in the world, other than my mother, who knew how I felt about Ashley Rayford. I can make that happen, she said. Yeah, right, I laughed. In your dreams. Vanda Sue's boyfriend, James Lee, president of the student body, had persuasive powers. According to rumor, he had been known to blackmail fellow students. James Lee will arrange it, Vanda Sue said. That's how it came about that my very first date was with Ashley Rayford Butts. We attended the dance recital of one of our classmates, and I had a wonderful time. I think Rayford did too, or so it seemed. Our seats were way up high in the balcony, and we talked and laughed through the entire program, much to the disdain of other audience members, which made us laugh even harder. We said goodnight at my front door. I thanked him for the evening, and that was it. I hoped he would call, but I never heard from him. Truthfully, I was devastated and blamed myself for not being pretty enough or good enough to hear from him. Although we attended the same high school, our paths didn't often cross. I avoided him because I felt hurt, angry, and embarrassed. Ashley Rayford hadn't changed much in 25 years. He was still tall and handsome. I admit when I saw him at the reunion, I felt anxious. When he sauntered over, smiled, and asked me to dance, I was caught off guard. 25 years ago, I would have been thrilled. As we danced, he leaned down near my face and talked about his work and family. He still had nice white teeth, but his breath was horrible. I began to feel grateful that he never called after our date. Several weeks after I returned home from the reunion, I was shopping in Strawberry when I noticed a rack that had just gone on sale. House coats, lace nighties, and several nightgowns graced the rack, along with my drop-dead gorgeous high school reunion ensemble. I decided to tell a salesperson. I held it up and said, "Excuse me, miss, this outfit is on the wrong rack." "No," she said. "Yes," I insisted. "It's a mistake. This ensemble, it's a pajama set," she said. "A pajama set?" I repeated. "Yes, dear," she answered. I slowly placed the ensemble back on the rack. I don't know how long I stood there staring at it because I was in a mild state of shock. Oh my God! No, it wasn't possible. How could I? How could I? The shimmery blouse didn't look like a pajama top, and yet, to calm myself, I began taking deep breaths. The strawberry stores were a New York-based chain, so I assured myself no one would ever know. But I knew. Ashley Wilkes, a.k.a. Rayford Butts, and I had swayed together to the gentle, dreamy doo-wop rhythm of the Five Satins' big romantic hit, In the Still of the Night. To this day, that song still sends chills up my spine. Looking back on my 25th high school reunion, I suppose I achieved poetic justice or revenge, in that I danced with the boy who never called me back in front of his wife and our classmates in a pair of shimmery Alice in Wonderland pajamas.